There are people in your life who simply don't break. You've seen them. Life hits them the same way it hits everyone else: loss, failure, betrayal, humiliation, and somehow they come out the other side cleaner, calmer, like the chaos passed through them without leaving a mark. And there's a part of you that watches that and thinks, what do they know that I don't? I'm going to tell you. But I have to warn you first. What made them untouchable isn't what you think it is. It has nothing to do with strength, nothing to do with confidence, nothing to do with success. It starts with a decision that most people are too afraid to make. Think about the last time something went wrong. Not a catastrophe, just the everyday kind of wrong. Someone said something about you behind your back. A plan fell apart. You worked hard for something and it didn't come. Someone you trusted let you down. How long did you carry it? Because here's what nobody tells you about modern life. We are the most mentally fragile generation in human history. Not because we're weak, but because we've been raised to believe that how we feel is who we are. Something goes wrong, and immediately it means something about you, your worth, your future, your place in the world. Someone ignores you, and your mind writes a whole novel about what that says about your value. You fail at something, and that failure doesn't just stay in the moment. It follows you into your sleep, into your next attempt, into the mirror every morning. And the worst part? The more you try to protect yourself from this, the more you avoid risk, avoid confrontation, avoid being seen. The smaller your life gets. You're not living, you're managing. Now here's the question that changes everything. What if the goal was never to avoid pain? What if the goal was to become the kind of person that pain simply cannot reach? That's not a motivational line. That's a philosophy, and it's over 2,000 years old. I want you to picture a young man. Not royalty, not wealthy, not powerful. He's a slave, born into it, no choice in the matter. His owner, a man named Epictetus, is known for his cruelty. One day, just to assert dominance, he grabs this young slave by the leg and begins to twist it. The young slave looks at him calmly and says, "You're going to break it." Epictetus twists harder. "I told you, you're going to break it." A crack, the bone snaps. The young slave looks at his master, no rage, no tears, no begging, and says simply, "Did I not tell you so?" That young man's name was Epictetus, and he went on to become one of the most influential philosophers who ever lived. His ideas were studied by Roman emperors. His teachings are used today by Navy SEALs, trauma therapists, and CEOs navigating billion-dollar crises. His words have pulled people back from the edge of total collapse. And it all started with a broken leg, and a mind that refused to be broken with it. How? How do you sit there with a man deliberately snapping your bones and feel nothing but calm clarity? The answer is the philosophy of becoming untouchable. And once you understand it, really understand it, you will never see your problems the same way again. Epictetus built his entire philosophy on a single idea, one so simple it sounds obvious, but so radical that almost no one actually lives by it. He called it the dichotomy of control. Here it is: some things are in your power, most things are not, and the cause of every human suffering is the confusion between the two. That's it. That's the whole thing. But sit with it for a second, because you're probably doing what everyone does, which is hearing it and thinking, "Yeah, I know, I can't control everything," and then going right back to being destroyed by things you can't control. Knowing it and living it are two completely different things. Let me show you what Epictetus actually meant. What is in your power? Only three things: your judgments, your intentions, your responses. That's the complete list. Everything else, your reputation, other people's opinions, your health, your bank account, the economy, the weather, whether someone loves you back, all of it falls outside your control. All of it. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most of us spend 90% of our mental energy on things outside our control. We obsess over what people think of us. We catastrophize about futures that haven't happened. We replay conversations trying to figure out what we should have said. We refresh our phones, waiting for a message that may never come. And then we wonder why we feel exhausted, why we feel powerless, why we feel like life is something happening to us. Epictetus had a word for this state. He called it slavery. Not the physical kind, the internal kind. The voluntary surrender of your own mind to external forces. And here's the brutal mirror he held up. You can be a free man in the eyes of the law and still be a slave. You can be rich, powerful, famous, and still be owned. Owned by your ego, by your need for approval, by your fear of what others think. But, and this is the part that breaks everything open, you can be in literal chains. You can have your legs snapped by a cruel master. You can have nothing, own nothing, control nothing in the outside world, and still be completely free. Because no one can reach inside your mind and take from you what you refuse to. Surrender. That is what untouchable actually means. Not that nothing happens to you, not that you feel nothing, but that your core, your values, your choices, your response to what life does, remains yours. Always. Epictetus taught 3 layers to this philosophy that build on each other. Layer 1, desire less, need less. Most of your suffering isn't from what you have. It's from the gap between what you have and what you think you need to be okay. Every time you make your peace conditional, I'll be fine when I get the job, when they apologize, when things settle down, you hand your stability to something outside yourself. Epictetus taught desire not as ambition, but as a trap. Want things, work for things, but never need them in order to be whole. Layer 2, see clearly, not emotionally. When something bad happens, the first thing your mind does is add a story. Not just this happened, but this is a disaster. This means I'm failing. This is proof that I'm not good enough. Epictetus called this the impression, the raw event plus the interpretation you layer over it. He wrote, "Men are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things. The event is neutral. Your judgment of it is where the suffering lives. Learn to separate the two." Layer 3. Act from your values, not your wounds. Here's the deepest one. Most people react from their pain. Someone humiliates you, you strike back. Someone abandons you, you shut down. Someone doubts you, you either crumble or overcorrect. All of it is the wound driving the wheel. Epictetus said the untouchable person acts from their prohairesis, their rational, chosen will. Not what fear wants, not what ego demands. What you, the thinking, choosing self, decides is right. Those 3 layers together, that's the armor. So how do you actually build this? Because philosophy without practice is just decoration. Practice 1. The morning partition. Every morning before your day starts, take 2 minutes. Write down everything that might go wrong or cause anxiety that day. Then draw a line down the middle of the page. Left side, things I control. Right side, things I don't. Your only job all day is to work the left side and release the right. This isn't passive. It's the most aggressive act of focus you can commit to. Practice 2. The pause before the story. The next time something bad happens, and something will, train yourself to stop before the narrative starts. Something happened. Just that. Before you decide what it means, ask, is this actually catastrophic, or does it only feel that way? Is this event the problem, or is my interpretation the problem? You have a window, a few seconds between the event and the story. Live in that window. Practice 3. The voluntary discomfort. Epictetus didn't just teach acceptance of hardship, he prescribed it. Deliberately do hard things. Fast occasionally. Sit in cold water. Do the uncomfortable conversation you've been avoiding. Say no when everything in you wants to say yes to keep the peace. Why? Because every time you choose discomfort on your own terms, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. You stop being afraid of hard things because you've already been choosing them. Practice 4. Strip the labels. When Epictetus lost everything, his freedom, his comfort, his physical safety, he didn't mourn it as his loss. He understood that nothing external truly belongs to us. The job, the relationship, the reputation, we're borrowing all of it. This isn't nihilism. It's liberation. When you stop clinging to things as extensions of your identity, losing them stops being existential. Things come, things go. You remain. Practice 5. Judge yourself last. Here's the one nobody expects. Epictetus was ferocious about self-examination, but he was never self-punishing. He understood that harsh self-judgment is just another form of being controlled by external standards. True self-mastery isn't beating yourself up when you fail. It's noticing, adjusting, and returning to your values without drama. The untouchable person isn't perfect. They just recover faster. Here's what shifts when you actually live this. You stop needing people to validate you, and you become magnetic to the right ones. You stop bracing for disaster, and you start moving through the world with a steadiness that other people can feel. You stop measuring your worth by outcomes, and you start finding it in how you show up, regardless of result. The world becomes a place you move through rather than a place that moves you. This is not about become cold, not about becoming unfeeling. Epictetus wept, he loved, he cared deeply. The philosophy didn't ask him to stop being human, it asked him to stop letting the unpredictable, uncontrollable, chaotic outside world determine the quality of his inside one. A slave with a broken leg who became free in a way his master never was. Think about that. The philosophy of becoming untouchable is not a destination. It's a daily renegotiation with yourself, a daily choice to anchor your identity not in what happens to you, but in how you meet it. Most people spend their entire lives trying to arrange the outside world so they can finally feel okay on the inside. Epictetus spent his life proving that the arrangement was never the point. You don't need the world to cooperate. You need a mind that doesn't require it to. That is freedom. That is untouchable. And the door to it has always been open. It just opens from the inside. If something in this video landed, if there's a line you're still turning over in your mind, that's not an accident. That's the philosophy working. Subscribe to this channel, because every week we go deeper into the ideas that the wisest minds in history used to build lives that nothing could shake. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay close, because the next video is going to challenge the story you've been telling yourself about why your life looks the way it does. You're not going to want to miss it.